Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 4:39. I'm going to go ahead and say up front, Mr. Edwards is stationed in California, so he knew he was not going to be able to be here tonight. He's in the Coast Guard, so he won't be here this evening. And Ms. Nelson may come in here in just a little bit because I have not heard from her. But I'm Amanda Kennington, the SHAC facilitator and chair. Mr. Edwards is our parent co-chair, and then our secretary is Ms. Michelle Nelson. I'd like to welcome everybody. We have some guests here today that we'll be able to introduce to you here in just a little bit. And just make sure your cell phones are silenced, that we're keeping the sidebar conversations to a minimum. This is a recorded public event. It's being recorded as a matter of public record, so confidential information should not be discussed. Members of the public can address the council by emailing testimony to GCCISD at shac@gccisd.net no later than 5 p.m. 4 days prior to our scheduled meetings. The GCCISD SHAC shares meeting information on our district website under the Whole Child Initiatives tab. And all our meeting agendas, audio recording, and minutes are posted there as well. All right. All right. So at this time, we are going to do kind of a roll call of membership. But before we do, if you notice, the membership voting status has changed just a little bit. So right now we have a current membership of 39 members from our original 51. We have voting members. There's 18 parent voting members, 15 district staff, 2 community members total, but 4 are non-voting. So if you notice the color pink up here, we are non-voting members. So that way we can make sure that we establish that percentage where our parents have the higher number as required. Today we need a quorum of 20 to be able to complete any action items. So I'm just going to do a quick roll call. If you're here, just say here or present. Cynthia Almanza, Adam Bailey, Oriana Bankston. I think she's going to be late. Nelva Benavides, Patrick Brown, present. Teresa Caldwell, here. Ruth Carrillo, here. Samuel Chapa, here. Christy Clement, Rosemary Kaufman, here. Ashley Cox, here. Becky Dunn, Jasmine Eaglin, Natalie Edwards. Mr. Edwards is absent. Marilyn Heredia, Susanna Toledo, Cara Ehegdebo, Beverly Kegler. Had an email from her. She wasn't going to make it because they had a band performance tonight. Kim Kostick, here. Tamika Lee, Letitia Legrere, here. Lee Martinez, here. Stephanie Myers. She emailed. Michelle Nelson. Patricia Pena. Here. Casey Pena. Here. Maria Ramirez. Here. David Reed. Here. Carrie Rickard. Laura Rupp. Here. Rosalind Scott. Laura Shostak. Jessica Sims. Diane Slack. Lillian Sockwell, Joella Whitley, here. Kevin Robleski, here. We have a quorum. You can clap. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Okay, so we did not have any community communication, so I'm going to move right on to action items just to reflect on community communications. If any information is shared to our SHAC at gccisd.net, that will be shared with our executive committee of the SHAC. and then any action that needs to take place with that will be shared with our members. So that brings us to our action item for meeting minutes. These meeting minutes were emailed to you prior, actually within 72 hours after that March 15th minute. Were there any edits, any changes that needed to be made on that March 15th document?
Amanda, do we need to have a discussion about what was voted on because we didn't meet the quorum? This is the inconsistency with the roll call.
So after the last meeting, it was brought to our attention that we did not have a quorum from that previous meeting. So this is not what's in question right now. Right now we're talking about our March 15th meeting minutes. But then we can discuss that if you want to bring that to the floor.
I think that's the next thing.
Okay. Is that fine? Okay, perfect. So for March 15th, reading and approval, any edits, any changes? Okay. Okay, that's Ms. Costick. Motion. Would anyone like to second?
I'll second that motion, David Reed.
Thank you. All right, and then I'll reflect back just real quick. Do you want to make a motion on that for this meeting now, or do you want to?
Okay, so the March 15th meeting is the last meeting, not the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Before. Okay, so then, yeah, then I'd like to move for discussion on that. So the question is the votes that we did in that meeting, whether or not they stand, because we did not need a quorum. So approving the minutes from the meeting prior, and I believe it was 2, because we didn't need a quorum
Right.
before that as well.
It would have been the January the November and
Yeah.
January.
Right, because we hadn't met a quorum in the January meeting, so we couldn't approve those. So essentially, does that make those votes null and void, and we would have to reapprove those minutes? Are you following me?
Yes, so we can open that up for discussion. I'm fine with that. Or we can say, because that meeting was closed that last time, that it stands as is. We can take a vote to one or the other. If you want to make a motion to go ahead and approve those minutes now, we can reflect back on those.
I think for record
Okay.
keeping purposes, that would be ideal, is to go ahead and approve those
Okay.
meeting minutes when we do have the quorum, just to make sure that nothing ever comes back to bite you in your butt that says, but y'all push forward with something that technically
Yes.
violates Robert's Rules of Order.
So the meeting minutes for November 9th and for January 18th. We did not have quorum this last time. Did anyone have any edits or changes that they wanted to make to either of those minutes? Okay, I'd like to call for a motion for the meeting minutes. We'll go ahead and do November 9th and January 18th to approve those minutes.
I'll move to approve them.
Thank you, Ms. Costick. Anyone second?
Second, Teresa Caldwell.
Thank you, Ms. Caldwell.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think that saves it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So just really quickly, I wanted to kind of reflect on some celebrations. You know, like my little lettuce guy up here, let us celebrate. So SHAC celebrations, just a moment, we're going to have a presentation by Bowie Elementary. We've had a lot of great things going on in the district. A lot of family events, many catch nights, walk to school events that have been coming back. People are just really wanting to engage with our community, back into the schools. So we have some pictures here from Travis Elementary. They were engaging their students with both physical activity and tied it in directly with learning. Carver Elementary, Lamar Elementary had their walk to school. It's a very successful event. Mr. Cuddio, do you remember about how many y'all had? I knew she was looking at me like, how many? 100 or so. It was a great turnout early in the morning. Yes, it was a lot of fun.
About 45 staff members come out and volunteer.
She has wonderful volunteers, her staff. Harlem Elementary also hosted a Catch Family Night. And then this flips over. We have our very own food service director, Natalie Edwards, that was recognized by Catch Global Foundation as the Catch of the Month for all her efforts and her nutrition services staff. So we definitely appreciate them. They made some very nice, these were a lot of them from the Catch Family Nights. They got very creative. So we definitely appreciate our nutrition services for all their hard work. And then Carver Elementary had a visit from Toro. They won that through a contest that they did with Fuel Up Play 60. And so Toro came out, took pictures with the kiddos, served breakfast in the morning. We got some pictures, so lots of fun. Bowie Elementary, I only showed this one picture because I thought you all will be sharing some pictures in a minute, but I thought it was very interesting how they were showing this, the amount of sugar in the Sunny D. They had an entire board created with all the sugars that were in different types of drinks. So that was a great, visual for the families to see. Highlands Elementary had a color run. It was their first annual family color run. Very successful event. Ms. Capetillo ran through it a few times. The kiddos had a blast. It's something that they want to do each year now. So lots of fun there. And then San Jacinto Elementary hosted recently their Catch Family Night. They had this activity which is called Fishin' for Nutrition. And so the students would use a magnet to grab the nutrition pictures, and then on the plates below it, they would put it in, where it belonged on the food chart. And then now I would like to introduce our guests. I don't know if all of you would like to come up or just Ms. Cullum. But Bowie Elementary is here. They have done a wonderful job of coordinating school health initiatives at Bowie. And they'll share some different things that they have done. But we have our principal from Bowie, Miss Regina Patrick Sims, if you'll just wave for us there. Thank you for being here. And our Catch champion and PE teacher, Miss Leah Flowers. And our student wellness interventionist, who is also a SHAC member, Miss Diane Slack. And then Miss Krista Cullum, she's the Bowie Elementary Campus Student Success Specialist. And they are here to present on their coordinated school health efforts at Bowie. So thank you. I have a microphone here.
Okay, so here's our yearbook that we made that highlights some of the activities, a lot of the activities that we've done so far this year. Catch Us Being Healthy at Bowie Elementary is the theme. We have a Catch team that meets every 9 weeks, and we planned a lot of these things, and Ms. Slack and Ms. Cologne are instrumental in that as well. Okay, here's our Catch team. I just put a quote there. It's great to have a staff so committed to our students' health, and they really are. And the students and the staff really help each other, push each other to be healthy at Bowie. And there's our favorite foods. We just put our favorite food, some of our favorite foods. And yes, pasta is healthy according to Catch. So once everybody saw that, they were like, "Yep, pasta." Yes, next. Okay, our Catch team. Like I said, we have meetings each 9 weeks. These are just some of the things that we have done. We had a staff water challenge, for a 30-day water challenge that I just found it on the internet, printed it off, gave it to all the teachers. And we also sent it home to the family. Ms. Cologne sent it home through the family newsletter to try to get them involved as well. And it really worked because the kids would tell me that how much water their teacher drank, and they would report in, and the teachers would report in. So it was a lot of fun and very easy to run. Catch MVP ticket drawings each week. This just happened this week. That was our task for this 9 weeks to pass out these MVP tickets to kids that we noticed doing something healthy. Maybe it was running at recess or just eating a healthy snack during snack time or in lunch. Then we just had our fitness night. It was awesome. We had Baytown Tennis come do an activity. Momo from that does pound for the city of Baytown came and did a pound workout. And then we had some of the awesome vegetable trays from the school nutrition. We had so many volunteers. YMCA, City of Baytown came. It was great. We had two two walk to school days, one in the fall and then one in the spring, and they were both very well attended, and it was a lot of fun. Houston Food Bank food giveaways. We had a drive-through in the parking lot one time or twice this year, and then we had a giveaway of um, what was it? Melons. I think we have a picture on here. And then we also have walking Wednesdays, the first Wednesday of each month, where the teachers walk with their kids at recess. Okay, these are pictures from our garden that we got through United Way Day of Caring. They bought the planter boxes and the soil, and then Covestro donated the plants for that. And we have that going right now. They look really great. Um, And then I just have thank you, Ms. Colomb and Ms. Slack, for helping keep our families involved. Ms. Colomb sends out information in the family newsletter just about every week. Ms. Slack does something about health on the announcements each and every day. So we're getting the word out there. And this is just pictures from planning day. All right, here's the melon giveaway. And I don't know the story behind why we got so many honeydew melons.
And I talk loud. I don't use my teacher. The Houston Food Bank, because we are a campus that have backpack buddies, they'll email us or call every now and then and say, we have a plethora of whatever. Would y'all like it? Can we? And so I said, sure, yeah, we'll take some melons. And she said, how many cases do you want? And I was like, well, we should be able to get rid of 3. Well, I was thinking cases was one of those. Well, cases are 2 of those. So we had 6 of those cases, what I call cases, to get rid of. And so when they dropped them off, I was like, that explains the first picture. Like, what am I going to do with and so, like the Sim said, we're going to give them away at the car ride line. So everybody that came to pick up a kid, I was like, we are not asking them, do you want a melon? We're saying, how many melons do you want? And we just started stuffing them in carts.
That's so
So in a day and a half, we got rid of all the melons. And then, so that picture is how we were just giving away melons. These 2 pictures are on one of our walk to school days. We had a 2-for-1 day. We walked to school early in the morning, got real healthy, and then we went and pulled some 5th graders to come and give away food. By the time we got to the school to finish our walk to school, we had a line full of cars waiting to pick up food from the Houston Food Bank. So we got a 2-for-1 on that day. And these were our 2 walk to school days. On the first walk to school day, I want to say it was like December before we left for the Christmas break, and it was cold. It was really, really cold. But y'all see how many people came out, even in the freezing cold. This was our first one. And they were so excited, like, y'all gonna walk to the teacher's gonna walk to school with us, and it's like, yes, we're at the church. We're gonna all walk to school together. So we met at the church and we all walked to school together, and then we used Miss Slack because we knew we were planning another one in the fall. So we used Miss Slack and we was like, we want you to show these pictures on the announcement and be like, hey, if you missed it, look at all your friends, look at all the giveaways, they had fun. So if you missed it, be sure to come to the second one. The second one we almost doubled. The amount of people that showed up almost doubled. The second one was warm. It wasn't hot, but it was a better day. It wasn't so cold outside. So we were able to get more families involved, and the kids loved it. They keep asking me, even the 5th graders, next year, Miss, when we walk to school, can we come and walk to school? And I was like, no, you can do that at MTV chat. But the kids love it, and they're ready to do it.
And that's a partnership that we have with Harris County Public Health, Safe Routes to Baytown.
This is our staff wellness room. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And so we realized that, yes, eating healthy, we have to eat healthy in order to keep our bodies healthy, but your minds also have to be healthy. So we really think Dr. Sims and our administrative staff, they put the wellness room together, and it was kind of a big reveal and surprise, and we absolutely love it. I think I go in there for the unhealthy stuff. I go in there for the coffee and the creamer. But I mean, there's a relaxation station. There's you can play soft music, but it really gives you a spot, and the teachers can go in and 15 minutes at a time and put something on the door that says, "Don't come in here. It's already taken. My mind is getting renewed." But it's a very relaxing place to sit and just kind of unwind. The two ladies on here, that's the water challenge that Miss Flowers was talking about. They won the water challenge. So anybody that completed 32 ounces a day.
No, it was 62, I think.
So as you completed it, you had to let Miss Flowers know, and then there was a drawing for everybody that completed it. The other picture is Miss Slack and Miss Modest. We actually had two. Cooking with the counselor. They want to talk about it.
Yes, yes.
So, Cooking with the Counselor, we did that as an online event to where kids could be home with their families. And we wanted to do like a family engagement, something fun, but also safe at the same time. So we try to keep it very simple. Covestro, at times they have donated ingredients. We tried to do like 3-ingredient type things. This one was a gluten-free cake in a mug. So, healthy or not, but we've done before. We got a recipe off of Catch, and they actually have some recipes you can go online. And we found one for apple nachos, and so that was fun. And we got the apple slices that are already pre-sliced, and the kids, they warmed up peanut butter and drizzled it over the top. First, I was like, apple nachos, what is that? But it's peanut butter drizzled over the top with cranberries or
And I can definitely speak to that. So again, just the excitement you see there up here smiling, just bringing that healthy message to your families in any way that you can, whether it's virtually or not, definitely shows that commitment and provides that energy. So thank you all for working so well together. Coordination is the key to creating those healthier behaviors within your school. So thank you for being role models for all of us to think and think healthier. If you notice here, we have a gift from the SHAC. When I was at your Wellness on the Go, the kiddos, I was doing outdoor wellness, and they told me how much they love soccer, that they had the soccer goal, but not the net. Well, there you go. You've got a soccer goal with the net and a soccer ball. So y'all enjoy that. And thank y'all so much for all your coordination and help. And then I saw Miss Bankston came in. Anyone else that came in during the presentation that I missed? Hi, Miss Bankston. All right, and if y'all, hi, and if you want to move up, I think they'll be exiting here in just a little bit. If you want to move up to one of these tables, you're welcome to. Okay. Okay, so just a quick overview of our guiding principles. We see these often, just that, overarching what our guiding principles are, that this was a collaborative, collective vision. The image that you see there represents that. We'll continue using these guiding principles so that we can ensure that your values are reflected in the decisions that we're making. We're going to continue to support and educate and communicate positive and engaging initiatives like you just now learned about. We'll perform our duties as a council with the overarching charge to make recommendations that provide opportunities for all students. And then remember that we're fostering that learning by using that WISC model, that it's not just the parents, it takes the community, the whole school, whole community, and whole child approach. And so that's kind of the framework that we use here for SHAC and will continue to use. So now that turns it over to the presentation for our board report. I just had word that our board presentation, that's usually done in June, will actually be this upcoming Monday. So what you see tonight will be more than likely, unless someone goes in and edits a bunch of, because I'm very detailed, will probably be minimized a little bit with the wording from here. So this is sort of my practice for the board presentation. If you have comments or suggestions to this presentation, please make sure you email me or meet me after the meeting today to make those recommendations. But I kind of put something together to present to the Board of Trustees. We do have to present annually our progress report, any accomplishments that we have, anything that by law, like the 4 meetings that we have to have, although we've had several meetings. So it's just kind of a rundown of all of the things that we've done this year. So what is a SHAC? A SHAC's a group of individuals representing segments of the community in the school district, and it provides advice to the district on coordinated school health programming and its impact on student health and learning. So our goals as a SHAC is just to make sure that we're, encouraging those values that you have across the board. I'll give them kind of an overview of our SHAC membership. So the SHAC is annually appointed to the by the local education agency by the Board of Trustees each year. The Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees approved the appointment of 51 members composed of 27 parents, 13 campus representatives, 8 district representatives, and 3 community organization representatives. And this was on September the 16th, 2021. You all are a group of individuals that represent, each area. So whenever we did break down, and this may be a question that comes up because it did last year, when we did a breakdown, we did actually map out your physical addresses so that way we could make sure that we were hitting every pocket of our community as best we could. If we weren't hitting a certain district, then we targeted those schools specifically to ask for parents to be a part of our school health advisory council. Our coordinated school health. So just like we learned about just a little bit ago, all Texas schools are required by law to implement a coordinated school health program in grades K through 8. That coordination is a systematic approach to advance academic performance by promoting and practicing and coordinating health education services. And that is to the benefit and well-being of students in establishing healthy behaviors designed to last a lifetime we do translate that over to our employees as well, and try to role model that for them as well. All of our Goose Creek CISD elementary and middle schools and Point Alternative have adopted, been trained in, and are implementing that approved catch program currently. So I will let the board members know that as well if they're not aware. And then I just kind of made a note about our standing subcommittees that we try to cover every part of the WISC model, because catch is modeled and framed around the WISC model as well, that whole school, whole community, whole child model. And so the way that we've broken down our subcommittees is to try to hit on every segment or every component of that WISC model. And then along the way, we have had ad hoc committees. Currently, we have an ad hoc committee that's working on our wellness plan. And previously, we were looking at that policy. Okay, so this is where it gets really detailed because all of it was important to me. We hosted our 4 general meetings on those dates that you see listed, the 9th of November, January 18th, March 15th, May 10th. And we heard several presentations. One was from Catch Global Foundation. We had a presentation from Harris County Public Health Tobacco Cessation Team on the dangers of vaping. We participated in discussions on all of those different activities that are listed on the slide. In addition to those SHAC meetings, we had an orientation meeting. We engaged in 12 meetings that was specific to the wellness policy. See if it'll let me scroll down without, sorry. Specifically discussing that local wellness policy, just so you get a broad idea. I'm going to brag on all of you right now. The SHAC officers and the SHAC Executive Committee met 14 times this year to discuss meeting agendas and relevant topics for discussion. We had 16 subcommittee meetings that were hosted to ensure that members had a voice with district leaders to enhance health education, physical activity and fitness, nutrition services, employee wellness, mental health, health services, and family and community engagement. The SHAC celebrated campus wellness teams for their efforts to educate students about the benefits of moving and staying healthy, valuing healthy eating, and promoting healthy habits. Lots of great things happened. I did want to share with the board members also about our meeting information. They are welcome to join our meetings and be here and be present. But all of our meeting information can be found, agendas, minutes, audio recordings on the district website, as I've said before. A notice is also supposed to be posted. This communication goes out through our community engagement team into the central office of every campus in the district. So in your central office at your campus, there should be a post in your front office on the bulletin board. And each time we go to have a meeting 72 hours prior, that communication goes out and kind of does a rundown of what it is that we are talking about at that particular meeting. So we're trying to be very transparent in what we are talking about at our SHAC meetings. And then, of course, comments and questions can be emailed to our SHAC email, shac@gccisd.net. So, notice this is a little bit off, but I'll fix that. So SHAC accomplishments, like I said, very, very many. I'm so proud of all of you. I know some of us have engaged more than others with our subcommittees, but the work is always going to be ongoing. But these were kind of those overarching accomplishments, especially this number 1, the updated GCCISD wellness policy. This only occurs every 3 years, and it just so happened that this past year we did the triennial assessment, and then we made those recommendations. You all helped with that with the physical activity, nutrition education, nutrition services. We looked at every line and then said, what's missing? What can we ask the board to add for the goals? And then that was finally passed in March, and then we were able to now start on the wellness plan. That was definitely an accomplishment. We also supported the district textbook recommendations that came from Mr. Blesky shared information about that with the instructional materials. So for the first time in 20 years, the PE and health TEKS were revised, and these will go for Proclamation 2022. So starting this school year, the new health and PE TEKS will go into effect, but we needed some resources on hand. So our athletic director, Lee Martinez, is looking into those materials. He's going to be working with content specialists to try to put that into the scope and sequence wherever it's best fit, and to make sure that our students are getting the learning all of the TEKS as mandated. SHAC also was able to communicate health initiatives and resources, flyers from our community partners, whether that was about that sort of thing out in the outreach, whether it was for vaccination clinics, mental health services, and Ms. Caldwell shared a lot of information about what they're doing in their area. Staff wellness challenges. You all supported the It's Time Texas Community Challenge. Family and community engagement events. The city provided some of those, and then on campuses, once things have kind of gone back to normal, now we're seeing more of that family and community engagement type events. And you all can help to promote those types of engagement. We were just talking today about the sense of belonging within our community and the mental health side of that. And if we're not creating and fostering that environment where we do feel like we belong, whether that's at your campus or in your community, then that may lead to, the more problems with mental health. So we can do our part to help with that. Vaping initiative, we'll have an update on that in a little bit, but that was a great discussion that we had on that this year as well. And then just as a little side note, on my number 4 that's hidden down there at the bottom, this is another accomplishment that got started kind of late in the year, but last year, Mr. Edwards, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Robleski, and I think Ms. Lee was on that one as well. On our physical activity subcommittee, they recommended some recess guidelines to create equity across the board, because even when it came time for recess for COVID pandemic, some schools were having recess, others weren't having recess. There was not a set guideline, so it wasn't equitable across the board. And even whenever it comes to equipment or time, we wanted to try to hone in on what can we do to kind of have some guidelines where students that get in trouble, they're not sat out they're not withholding physical activity when that child probably needs the physical activity. Those were recommendations that we created into a resolution last year. And we wanted to put the guidelines that we told the board, about, we wanted to go ahead and put those into effect this year just to kind of pilot it out and see what the response was. We are doing the pilot at Carver Elementary. We've already started training teachers on actively monitoring and encouraging students to be more active. The Carver Elementary will receive equipment for each grade level to be able to use. We are going to do paint markings, which increase physical activity. There's a paint party in June. I'll invite all of you. June, yes, it's going to be hot. But we will paint markings like Foursquare, hopscotch, and different things that out into their area. And that is hopefully going to be something that we can expand on this next school year. And so it's just a way that we can try to increase the physical activity and fitness levels of our students and tie everything in. So many of you may not have known that was going on, but that was as a result of SHAC actions that went before the board last year. Ongoing work. It's always ongoing. So some of you are on the ad hoc committee helping with the wellness plan right now, nutrition services. We have definitely, Ms. Edders, we've been working on that. Mr. Reed's been a part of that here recently, meeting after meeting on just making sure that the goals that the board has set for the district, that we have some way to measure it. So we're coming up with actions and objectives that we can measure as a SHAC, because it is our duty to look over the wellness policy and to make sure that we're measuring each campus's compliance with that. So we are developing that. If you'd like to be a part of the ad hoc committee, it is going to be ongoing. We're going to be looking at physical activity next and creating some actions that go along with that. So if that's your cup of tea and you want to join in on those action steps, then feel free to reach out. Of course, the ongoing work with the new State Board of Education TEKS for health and physical education I just touched on. Mr. Martinez will be working with his staff to make sure that all those TEKS are within their scope and sequence in their curriculum. And I believe there's plans this summer to work on that. Eduphoria. Check Eduphoria if you'd like to help with curriculum writing. Teachers. Encourage campuses to incorporate coordinated school health as a part of the campus improvement plan. So that is something we feel is very important. And instead of us just saying, please, have catch programming, please do this, it really needs to be something more meaningful that the campuses can measure. Bowie is one of them. Alamo is one of them and then I've worked also with Point. I worked with a couple of campuses that have put coordinated school health goals and objectives in their campus improvement plans. This will help them in several ways. whenever they're going to, whether it's funding, whether it's measuring how they're doing. They're already having to do fitnessgram testing. They're already doing the work of coordinated school health. They're doing these family nights. They're doing these engagement. But we want more schools across the district to put those goals and objectives in their improvement plans so that way we can measure it. Like, how are you doing? And so that ties in with our wellness policy and our plan. But now, as a SHAC, we're saying we're encouraging the campuses to do that. But once it becomes written in that plan, then it will be an expectation. And then finally, developing objectives for physical activity programming using the fitnessgram and relevant data. I know some of that data has come in a little bit late just because of the pandemic. There was a year or so that they were not gathering that data, but that work will be ongoing so that way the physical activity and fitness subcommittee, which is mandated that we have, that way they'll have some data to go off on. Okay. So our recommendations, this is like 2 slides left. Okay, so SHAC recommendations. And yes, I only have 5 minutes on Monday to go through all of this, so I won't be so detailed, but I just want you to know all the work that you have put in. So for our SHAC recommendations, we have a couple of things that are still pending. We talked about this House Bill 1525, SB 9. We talked about these things early in the year. We have just been kind of waiting on the board to take action. So number one, overall, we'd like to recommend that we are utilized as a SHAC to support school health policies and practices. Just like I just said about the campus improvement plans, they're already doing the work of that, and it's not being measured. I feel like at the same time, our board, we want that same, not that they don't support us, but we want to make sure that we're utilized, that they look to us whenever it comes to school health policies and practices, that they're saying, SHAC, we want you to look into this. Whatever health issue it is, health education or practices that are happening, and develop strategies for us. And so that's one of the recommendations that we will give to them on Monday. Sorry. SHAC recommendation number 2 is they implement that House Bill 1525 requirement. So anything that applies to the SHAC under the EHAA legal policies. So this will, let me kind of explain that. We are supposed to convene the SHAC. Let me get to my notes. So as a part of this House Bill 1525, we have certain things that we need to do, but before we can do any of that, the board has to adopt a resolution. So I may want to flip number 2 and number 3, but the board has to adopt a resolution to convene the district's SHAC to recommend curriculum materials for House Bill 1525, which includes that human sexuality instruction. We must offer that those Texas Essential Knowledge Skills because of the new TEKS, the new Texas Essential Knowledge Skills that the students have to learn. It includes human growth and development, puberty, same thing with human sexuality, and I believe it starts as early as 5th grade. But we make those recommendations as a SHAC. That's one of our primary roles, is to look into that and figure out which programming is going to be, that is reflective of you. But before we can even talk about that, the board will need to convene us and say, hey, we want you to talk about this, because there's something already in place that's already been board approved on this programming. But now, because of this House Bill 1525 requirement, now it's by law. They have to come back and say, hey, we want y'all to convene, relook at it, see if you want to use the same programming or if you want to change things up, or what curriculum we want to use. So we just want to make sure on our end that it does, whatever we recommend does get implemented, anything that applies to us as far as like the curriculum goes. Okay, last one. So our next steps, pretty much, we just want to make sure that we complete our work items within, a good amount of time. We are accepting applications for 2022, so you notice those that you have there. We'll also tell the board that they can go ahead and make their recommendations if they have anyone that they would like to recommend to be appointed. You can have a hard copy of that. You can request a copy from shac@gccic.net. I'll mail it. I'll deliver it if needed. We'll have some at the campuses as well, but these are going to be due by July 26th. Now, our current membership is actually active all the way until September the 16th when you were appointed. And so it does kind of carry over. And I'm going to go ahead and mention this now in case I forget later, that if you know for a fact that you will not be able to participate in the convening of the SHAC whenever we meet and talk about the human sexuality instruction, it's probably going to be late July or late August by the time we get to that point. If you already know that I'm not going to be able to be a part of that, make sure you send an email to shac@gccisd with your resignation. And, that way we know, and so we can establish that quorum to make sure that we can pass that once it gets to that point. I would love to have every single one of you back. We've done a great job. These are proposed meeting dates. I have checked with our district secretary. These are by no means set in stone, but I kind of kept it with the Tuesday dates and then spread them out quarterly. Okay, I think I'm done. Are there any quick questions on any of that? I know I need to move some things around before Monday. Please email me or talk to me about it at the end if you do. I definitely would appreciate it. We're not too far off on our schedule, so now we're going to have just some school health updates. Kind of covered some of this already, but I wanted to give each one of our district leaders a chance to just kind of talk on what they're working on with these different areas. So, Mr. Martinez, do you have anything to add about the health education, physical activity?
Yeah, I could just add on. I'm good. I'll stand up. You guys are not gonna hear me. Right? Okay, so following the 3 slides there, as she mentioned earlier, pending that the board resolution to convene the SHAC to recommend curriculum materials for human sexuality. We don't need that. That goes through. We have to have 2 public meetings on the curriculum materials, possibly in late August, or late July, early or August. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we still have to present recommendations to the board in a public meeting by September 16th. Some of the things we've been looking at is the type of materials that we're going to try to get. Before I go on to that, I'll talk a little bit about the Eduphoria thing we're putting in place. We do have some health. We use Catch to implement a lot of the health teams now. Just to throw this out there and let you know where we are. It's very, very pricey for the health textbooks. Very pricey. I'm talking 8 years, 200 grand plus. Okay. We're also looking at maybe dividing into certain sections. We can get the health teaks through Catch, and that'll be one option we can probably talk about later on in the future. Another option would be when we do get to this point is to have a speaker. I think Barbara Seal comes in for the speaker at 5th grade. Actually, somebody that's what they do for a living, and we can get that out there to the community. We can knock that out as a whole 5th grade class per school, and also do that with 6th and 7th and 8th grade to have that done as well. It does put us in a bind sometimes when we have teachers. Sometimes teachers lose focus, and not that it's an excuse. And sometimes it gets tough for them to talk about certain things. So possibly those are just some options. If we have to go that route and train them professionally and get them to proper training to get that out to the public, I think that's going to be a huge issue as well, along with the price of the textbooks and the price of the human sexuality information that we're going to have to get out. So there's a lot of steps that we need to take. Definitely working towards those steps. I know Amanda does a great job with that. She keeps me in line, so I definitely will do my part. And if there's any questions, you can email me. I'll do the best I can to answer. Okay, so that's pretty much what I wanted to go over with today, where we are in this process, and hopefully we can come to a resolution pretty quick, so we can get moving on it, because we do have a eager community to get moving on this. And it's kind of been on the wayside for the last couple of years. Okay? Thank you.
And it's one, I had my finger, I was going to make sure we remembered this too. It is continue. No, I'm like, not just 1 minute. No, it's my remember. It is House Bill 1525. It's just increasing the transparency. That's the whole point, is to make sure that we're being very transparent with our recommendations, that everything's in line. And very important to point out about the opt-in also. So do you want to speak just a second on that, Mr. Robleski, and what y'all are doing for high school, which is already in place for the opt-in and the pop-up program?
What
Sorry.
legislature has done now, they've always had a opt-in, opt-out, but before they can be taught even the sexuality part of high school, they have to return the letter to say they're going to opt out. They didn't return the letter in the past, and they got the education. Now we're going to have to track these parents down, probably possibly make phone calls. So I'm not sure.
How that'll work out.
They're working with the lawyers to see what we need to exactly put in that letter that is sent out. So it's changing. Just basically they change it to the fact that you have to get some kind of response. That hasn't been the way, that hasn't been how it was in the past.
And that's similar to that, the mandate from SB 9 as well. The SB 9, it starts talking about child abuse, human trafficking, all of that, and that's part of health education too. We're not quite there yet, but all of that feeds in. But just it's important to kind of familiarize yourself with all of that because it's something that is in legislation and has come across to the School Health Advisory Council. And so when we're looking into plugging in the scope and sequence for the health TEAGs, we have to make sure we're covering all that. But it is important to note that parents can choose whether they want to opt their kids out of certain TEAGs. Like you can say, oh, I don't want you to teach my child about that particular thing. You have that right to say that.
We tell them specifically that if you do opt out, they will have to be taken out of the
Yeah.
class.
And they'll do an alternate.
And they'll be taught this type of lesson or something that goes along, obviously.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, the kid gets sent home a letter to opt in or opt out. And if they did not return it, then they were automatically opted in?
No.
So
That's how it
unlike
was.
a
How it
permission-
was. For, not for HB 15.
Unlike a permission slip,
25.
like if my kid is gonna get a permission slip to go somewhere else, if I don't bring it back, they don't go. Right? But instead, this case, if they don't bring
That's
it
the
back.
way the legislature.
That's how it was.
I'm not vested in Goose
Yeah.
Creek, I'm just
Yes.
blown away.
And that's why
that
House
is-
Bill 1525 wanted to make sure that there was that transparency and that there's no question on it now. So just so we know.
Wow.
I'm gonna give Miss Pena time.
We have these students that don't return this. Yeah. It could be half the class, and then every period or multiple days, we gotta figure out where we're gonna send. You know what I mean? Because if they don't return it, they're opted out no matter what. That makes sense.
I mean.
So we're gonna devise a good system, but let us sit home, you know, if they're teenagers, so it's tough when you hand them something, you know.
Of course, but I mean, as it should be, I guess, if you don't get a permission slip, then you should have automatically been opted out instead of into it automatically.
Yeah, that's what they changed.
That's what they changed. All right. Our last meeting, we had a great discussion on the vaping initiative. So I kind of wanted to get an update from Ms. Pena on what's happening with the vaping initiative.
We had, last time I spoke, we had talked about us doing like a town hall meeting by feeder pattern. Well, that was in March, okay, we have so much going on in April and May. I wanted to give it its due diligence and plan it accordingly, and so we're saving that for fall. I've already spoken with Lakota, who is Amber Carter with Lakota, and have her on board, and she'll help us as well. But then I also have some other ideas
So we've been working on the plan, trying to not just have a plan, but have measurable outcomes. So if we say we're going to have a monthly nutrition message posted in the elementary cafeteria or on the menu board, is it actually there? Like something that we can go and check off, that we don't just say we're having these things, but actually have a check and balance that we can evaluate if we're meeting the goal or we're not meeting the goal. So that's been a lot of it. And one of our challenges is, I think junior high lunch is our biggest challenge, because the discipline issues, or how they try to get them in an orderly fashion, which cuts down on their time. So how to evaluate that, or talk to the principals on ways to make sure they get at least 20 minutes to eat once they receive their trays. So just how to best address the campuses on that sort of thing, but we really want to nail down measurable outcomes, so we could say we did this or we didn't do this, and not be so general of having just real generalized goals. So that's what we've been working on, things that we feel like we can achieve easily and things we can stretch to achieve as well.
That's our role as a SHAC, is to be able to measure those goals that the board has presented to the district. So we can, that will be annual, so not 3 years where the district goals are, and 3 years, our SHAC wellness plan or district wellness plan will be a plan that we measure each year. And then if we feel like those objectives that have been developed, if it's something that we're like, oh, we've met that objective, we can move on and change it. That's something that we will be able to do. So it's been great. She loves. I'm coming over, Miss.
And we had almost 300 people there, and some of the we had a 20, I think 22 vendors, but the goal of it was to provide information on some of the trending topics, hot topics that are relevant for our students and their families. So we had, of course, our vaping sessions. We also had Crime Stoppers that were on the main stage, and they did vaping, they did human trafficking, social media, and then we also had healthy relationships. We also had information about um, how to manage conflict, just a variety of information that was shared with our students. And I can say that the response from what we've been able to gather so far has been really, really great. What we're hoping for next school year is that, of course, we always want to make it bigger and better. So we're also looking at lowering. This year it was for grades 3 through 12. That was our target audience. But what we were also wanting and looking at, because of getting some of the feedback, is to lower that age group so we can have some of the younger kids. Because what we were thinking is that some of our parents may not have been able to come because of the age group. Although we did live stream the main event, so we did at least 3 hours of live streaming for the main stage. So it was a really, really good turnout. And again, probably one of the eye-opening sessions was the one that Patricia did. Hidden in plain sight. Because you look at the bedroom, and I agree. Some of those things, it's just like I could be standing in my son's bedroom and I would not know that there is a hidden, yes, like the watch, the Apple Watch or whatever. So it was a vape in there, and you just don't think about those things. But anyway, it was really, really good. The other opportunity that I had was to participate in the poverty simulation. And when I tell you that as a social worker, I think I did really, really good as far as being able to get out there and find those resources. But I also know that not having to ever have to look for the resources for it, like the way that we did for myself, I could just very easily see that how our kids and our parents are so overwhelmed when they are homeless, when they are without jobs. And it took me to a place where I was thinking, we've got to share this information with our staff because they have to understand who comes through the door, who's sitting in the seats when those students come in. Because I often say you cannot do math, English, whatever if a child is hungry and if they do not have a place to sleep. When they have all those other things that's going on in their mind, they're worried about, do I have a place to go home? Do I have a home? Do I have, something to eat? So when we start thinking about all of the resources that we provide in the district, we still have hungry kids. We have backpack buddies, we have foods that we can send home, but I can tell you not everyone understands what that is for. So I would love to be able to provide that for our district and have where it's a training for everybody. When I say everybody, I mean if you're employed with Goose Creek, I think you should have to go through that poverty simulation.
We will have more. We're going to plan more in the fall. If you're interested in hosting one, please come talk to me and we'll talk about what that looks like. Just to give everyone a little bit of context, the poverty simulation is an interactive, live, about an hour and a half simulation where it walks you through what decisions somebody would have to make who's living on the edge of poverty. And these are people you see each and every day. And every story that is seen through the simulation is a real life story of somebody who has visited one of our resource providers in Baytown and Chambers County. And it was a really great event. We had a great turnout for it, but it is something that we're looking to take into other areas. So if you are interested in hosting something like that, let me know. And we're going to be hosting some information seminars and all of that around it, but we are planning to implement that in the fall. I'm Casey Payne with United Way.
Discuss at your tables, question number 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do a quick share out. Yes, I do.
So what plan?
So, like the example of the visuals of how much sugar was in a Sunny D drink, things like that, that education piece. And then also something that's slightly different is family engagement with an emphasis on providing resources to what is existing. So not necessarily finding new things, but how do we resource what is happening really well in our schools that are currently there.
We went with number two, in reference to, how we improve and, we said that mass communication, more communication within the community, not just among, us as district, but reaching out to the different businesses, which we feel like if we see them in, them posting something in their business, those parents that don't open up our newsletters or don't click on that email, at least they might be able to see, what like the chit chat, those kind of things that have been going on, that they're able to see it there. So somehow get that information out to the businesses out in our community. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. They're all there.
Okay. Just as a side note, while you were talking about communication too, I think, as a reflection, since no one did number one, I'll do number one. So the subcommittees participated in several of these things, like the wellness policies, the family engagement piece, employee wellness. You all were engaged, so the subcommittee participation was all of you. We did have more campus representation this year, because last year it was parents and then we have our district level. We wanted to increase our campus level, so thank you all from campuses for joining us this year, bringing your input. I think that might be key to number two, is getting that information out to our campuses. We can share district, we can share emails and share information, but then on campus, even with this video, I know your role, it's family engagement, it's sending those resources out, it's sending the food distributions that are going in there, but it may be key to whatever's happening here to also have that campus representation to share that information out and bring those school health issues that you're seeing on campus, bring that to the SHAC as well. So, and then the piece you all talked about the students. We talked earlier, at the end of last year about engaging our students and having like a student chat, like a kids chat, to try to get input from the kiddos too. So that may be something that we can look into too, because then they can communicate some of these issues that they're having to us as well. So that was kind of my take on all of that. So if you'll leave the blue pieces of paper on the table, I'll take those. And if you have applications that you want to leave on the table as well, you can leave those. We are kind of wrapping up. Ms. Edwards, do y'all have summer meals planned out yet? Because we're going to go into those opportunities real quick. Oh, y'all didn't share? I apologize.
Oh.
What number did you? They shared with each other.
Well,
were y'all going to be number one?
It was similar to what? Yeah, it was similar.
What number were y'all doing?
Two.
So nobody did number one. Okay, go ahead.
And it was similar with
So
that.
communication.
We just added like, Spanish communication.
Okay.
And more.
Yeah.
Plus, what we were saying, like, to reach out. And not just the district.
So they said making sure that we're reaching out to our Spanish community, like looking at the language barriers that may be out there, to make sure that we're making sure that we're communicating not just to one group. So that outreach as well. Great idea. Great idea.
Number one.
Great idea.
Committee participated in Oxford to do health resources.
Thank you. Okay, so to wrap up, just future events and partner resources, summer meals and food distribution. Did you want to share? Just
Let me share.
about what's happening with that?
We haven't gotten, our flyers are in process, but we're evolving. So right now, all of the schools that are hosting summer school will have breakfast and lunch. Breakfast will be from 7:30 to 8:30, and lunch will be from 10:30 to 12:30. Like in the past, the community is, all kids 18 and below can come and eat at any location at no cost. We are doing parks. We're doing fewer because we have a lot of schools open. So we're going to do Bergeron Park, Jenkins Park. We're doing Sterling Library and Stratford Library in Highlands. So we'll have those as drop off for lunch only. We're partnering with Baytown Parks and Rec and the Promise Center. We'll also do delivery to the village apartments. We'll have a drop-off time for lunch. So we will have flyers out as we just keep adding. So I'm sure our marketing director's like, "Ugh," we keep adding locations. So coaches, if y'all have kids on campus, let us know, because the cafeteria staff is off in the summer and we're literally having to beg them to work. So just let let us know so we can. Okay. Okay, just tell them to reach out, like where they want time, drop off, so we can find someone. They're tired this year, so tell we're begging the ladies to work. So
And then you said the Promise Center, but we also have our partners, Hearts and Hands Food Distributions. Those communications go out district-wide, and then we send those to the CS3s. CS3s are sharing those resources as well on their campus. Those are like every Wednesday, every Saturday. If you want to volunteer for those things. Ms. Payne, did you want to mention anything about the volunteer event that's coming up? Go ahead.
Yes, so
The
we
other
have
Payne.
a, just Kate, this is
Miss Casey Pena from United Way.
we have a volunteer fair coming up next Thursday. It's from 4 to 6 at the community center. And this will be local agencies that have volunteer opportunities, and a lot of them will have opportunities for students over the summer. I know we at United Way will have several opportunities over the summer for students. It's a great way to get your family involved over the summer. And their organization's not just under the United Way umbrella, but they're all over Baytown and even into Chambers County. Some of them have events coming up, those kinds of things. But it's just a great way to learn what's out there and to keep your students involved. If you are a teacher or faculty member and you know that there are requirements for service hours for the school year next year, this is a great way to get them ahead of the game, and also a good foot in the door for next year, to really get them involved and ready to go. So that's Thursday, the 19th, 4 to 6 at the Baytown Community Center.
Thank you. And then Ms. Coffin, Lee College.
We have on June 9th, we have our summer bash.
Our summer bash is usually we have it only for students and staff, but because summer is so light, we want to make sure that our vendors that are going to be out have people that are coming in. So it's open to the community. We'll have NAMI, we'll have Bakota, TABC, Baytown Fire Department's going to have the pedal cars. They'll have drunk goggles where you can choose your level of inebriation, and then and with the drunk goggles and a lot of information. We don't want to make it fun, right? So that's the trick. But we'll have things, a lot of giveaways. We're talking about like a beach towel for the first 100 people that show up, things like that. So we're going to have a lot of good information, a lot of fun activities, and it's open to the public.
Fun. Thank you for sharing.
It is April, June 9th from 10 to 1, and it is outdoors, so it's going to be warm.
And there's flyers. If you didn't pick one up, there should be some extras back there
Yeah.
on the table. Community volunteer opportunities. Anything else from the floor for upcoming events or things that you know of? I know Gentry's having a fun day on March 14th, this Saturday, all day. So if you have a Gentry kiddo or if you're in the community and you want to join in, they're going to have physical activities going on all day. Lots of fun, kind of like a catch event, but on the junior high level. If you want to come check that out. And then we talked already about the Wellness Plan Ad Hoc Committee. Just reach out to me if you want to help with that. We know that the pending board resolution is coming, proposed meeting dates. I did want to mention from a community engagement team that Casey and the Sunshine Band, all of you are welcome to buy a ticket and come to the event on Friday, May 13th. All the funds raised go for our Goose Creek CIC Education Foundation, so money goes directly back into our teachers for teacher grants and education. I didn't pause for anyone. Did anyone have any other events that are coming up here in the next couple of weeks? Summer's almost here. Okay. So at this time, we'll just spin the SHAC wheel and we'll have any closing remarks real quick. Just have some little things up here. Let's see how this works. Not sharing. Oh, that'll work. Okay. Must be present to win. All right, so if you hear your name called, come on up. We're going to hand away some flowers first. Miss Scott, here? No. So Miss Carrillo, come on up. You can pick one of the flowers that are up front. And thank you so much for coming. Miss Heredia, is she here today? She was not. Thank you. Miss LeGrere, come on up. It's like a plant. You can do it. Pick any one of those there. Oh, you got it twice. Look at you. They really want you to have a plant. The spinner wants you to have a plant. Miss Almanza is not here. Miss Dunn. It's just picking everyone that's not here. Yes. Miss Slack, come on up. Grab you a plant. Congratulations. Just keep spinning.
Which one's least likely to die?
Miss Pena.
I do want to add one thing.
Yes, go ahead while we're doing this. Closing remarks.
I looked over the form that we sent out, all those kind of TEA requirement, our district requires that they return that before instruction of you guys.
That's
So
exciting.
so that's good for us, because that means that we're.
Flowers. We're going to get through the flowers first.
Because I just had to like, I would do that.
That's kind of where my brain was going, like, little disheartening.
Double check, I wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
It is going fast, Miss Kegler. It just, oh, I'm not even spinning anymore. Wow. This is going. Miss Ockwell? No. Oh, it stopped. I don't know what happened. It just started going on its own. Miss Bankston, come on up and get you a flower. That's what Miss LeGrere said. Y'all can trade. Y'all can trade.
I'm so sorry.
You can, you can trade with another winner for sure. Oh my goodness. Miss Myers is not here. I'm going to officially close this meeting at 6:07, so if any of you need to go, but I'm going to continue to give out these prizes. Miss Costick, come on up. Get our last point. All right, now we're going for the pitchers. Pitchers, you can fill those up with lemonade or drink of your choice. Mr. Reed. Oh no. He's going to a baseball game.
Aw,
I know.
I only get one?
Aw, Miss Benavides is not here. It's got to be an easier way. Miss Lee? No, just double checking. Miss Caldwell? Come on up. You can either have the lemon one or the seashells pitcher. The next one's getting the other pitcher. Cost a pretty good one. Trying to make it even out. Oh, and while I'm doing this, Be Well Baytown provided the cooling towels that are on the table, so they are cooling towels for you. And those other things from Whole Child Initiatives, those are exercise bands. Some lucky people tonight. Make sure y'all take some snacks and cookies. Mr. Brown, come on up. You get to make some lemonade in your lemon pitcher or your drink of choice. Enjoy. Miss Kaufman, come on up. You get to pick a towel. You have 3 choices up here. Now for the other 2 towels. Beach towel, yes ma'am. Miss Edwards, Natalie Edwards, come on up for a towel. If y'all want to trade, you're more than welcome to. For a towel, choose. Oh, Miss Edwards again. Look at that. I did not think this was going to take this long. Miss Carrillo, you already won? Yes? It's the same people. Everybody get it again. Mr. Robleski, you get a beach towel. There you go. Ready for the pool. This is for the throwing, catching. Miss Clement? She showed. Oh, she's not here.
To be fair, though, people that are not here.
Miss Cox, do you see her? Thank you. One of the catchers. It'd be fun. Just close your eyes. You didn't see that.
Oh my God.
She doesn't know. Okay, everybody else just play rock, paper, scissors, see who wins. Elsie's still here. All right, next time we're gonna have several wheels going at the same time.
I'll bring the roll up too.
There you go.
I had some, I just didn't think this would take this long. I even took, yes. The Susanna, she's not here. Everybody gets a cookie, everybody gets. Scott's not here. We just have 3. We can do this. Miss Pena, you already won. Yay! Y'all are welcome to get, y'all are, yeah, okay, everybody wants to know. Miss Kegler?
Yes.
Miss Kegler is here. Miss Kegler? We're changing the rules now. What are we doing, to the right or to the left? That one's like on the line. How does that work?
Okay.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't listen.
Okay, now the person to the right.
She's not here.
Never mind.
Let's go to the left.
There you go.
Okay, to the left. Miss Lee, nope, not here. Oh, gee. Okay, it's gonna happen. This is it gonna be. Whoever's left, you have a chance. Oh, Lee, you're good. Lee, go get, you get the catching thing.
Oh man, I've been wondering.
You have,
I've been wanting to play this game.
give it away. Miss Ligger, you won. All right, for the ice chest.
Thank you.
Again. Oh,
Really?
man. It's just for the last one. Jasmine England.
It was worth okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for everything. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody want to trade her for her plant? There you go. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mr. Brown. You're awesome.
Tomorrow, see you tomorrow.
I got a video. I got it.
Oh, I just, well, he just asked me today if I wanted to.
I wanted one. I wanted it for my husband. No, I actually don't really have plants, because when I look at stuff, I'm like, oh God, I'm not cluttered. But then when I saw the plants, I was like, oh yay, something cool. For my yard.
Here, I literally work. Yes.
Water. Just needs water.
Let me go tell her. I don't know. I didn't respond yet. Thank you.